you set the bar of what you want. If I keep comparing myself to Ronaldo's career every single day, I'm going to be spiraling in depression that I'm not 6'2", look like a male model. First training, they put me, Massimo, Luongo, and Carroll against Modric, Crancher, and Giovanni Santos. Do you understand how loaded I got in that first day?
This was not meant to happen. This could not happen. This is happening.
Welcome back to another episode of The Coach's Son Parks the Bus. We've got another great episode here for you guys today. Superstar from Kuala Lumpur City FC, all the way from Malaysia. We've got Giancarlo Gallifuoco. Welcome, man.
Good, man.
Thanks, man. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys so much for having me, Adam, Steven. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate the effort on my name. But feel free to call me GG, bro.
GG?
Yeah.
It's a lot
It
easier.
makes it easy for us. Makes life easier. Unreal. Well, thanks for coming on, man. We'll start right at the beginning. Let's do it. How did football come into your life at a young age?
Yeah, listen, you like the Oscars, bro. If I'm talking for too long, just play the music in the background. But I came from an Italian household, man. So like my dad, constant football. My older brother, constant football. So I actually don't know any different. Like, I don't know anything other than watching Serie A. I don't know anything other than waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and having to watch the games, World Cups, Euros. So people always say to me like, they always ask like your earliest memory. I don't remember it ever not being around. Football was just always part of a ethnic Australian lifestyle, household. Like it's just every family gathering, every every day we go to the park, every day we go to the beach, everything just rotates around football. So I was kind of blessed in that sense. And then obviously I was born and raised in Brighton, the Sands. So basically everybody is ethnic and everybody plays football. So it's pretty easy.
That's funny because, obviously we've had a tongue twister already to start off the pod. Grew up in Sydney. Obviously went to school in Sydney, I assume. How did your teachers go pronouncing your name?
Oh, dude, it was terrible. And so when I was 8, we moved to the eastern suburbs. So we moved to Waverley near like Bondi Junction. And like everybody is, Jack, John, James. And I would always know when it was me in roll call because the teacher would start to stutter. So they'd go, j, and I'd be like, I'm here, miss. Don't worry, I'm here.
One of those things where you jump in before they make it fall on themselves. You're a good bloke.
I try, man. I try.
And obviously you mentioned Italian background, Adam's Italian, I'm Greek. Same thing. You come out of the womb and you're literally you're handed a football, and he's got basically you're not allowed to have any interest in anything else. But did you play anything else growing up? Obviously you got to play football, but living in Sydney, you got access to your footy, your cricket, multiple sports. Did you play anything else?
To be honest, man, like I know our parents don't mind a bit, like usually ethnic parents don't mind a little bit of NRL or a little bit of like, dilly-dallying, watching other sports just for entertainment. But like whenever I would say to my dad, like, hey, do you want to play rugby? My dad would give me the biggest look of disappointment. Like, no, that's not even an option. So I finally got a spot pretty early.
You were a big boy. You're pretty tall, but I feel like you could hold your own.
Hey, in theory, until a 6'4" Tongan is sprinting at me and then I U-turn.
He's Jason Saab, 2 meter tall on the wings.
Exactly.
When you were coming through the youth system in Australia, what did you think was your biggest strength as a player, and how did you feel that the European system, how did they, get your attention?
So it's interesting, man. Like I've seen some of the guests that you guys have interviewed, and I've got like a quite a strange story because I feel like it has a lot of ebbs and flows. Like I was very grateful that at 15 I had a scholarship from the AIS, so like Australia gave me the first launching pad. But at the AIS I actually didn't play much. I wasn't necessarily in the starting 11, but it allowed me to have an environment that kind of prepared me for a European like academy. And then when I was 17, I then went over to Europe, and I realized how different the like ideology of the coaches were, in the sense that like in Australia we have this kind of thought process that everybody has to be well rounded. So you get a player and you say, work on your right, work on your left, work on your heading, work on your dribbling, work on your finishing, work on your defending, be an all rounded player.
Mm.
And I feel like that's a mistake. Whereas when you go over to Europe, it sounds cold. Not Europe, but anywhere in general, outside of Australia, it sounds cold, but they're looking to sell you. So it's like, hey, what do you do good? How do we make that really good so that someone sees you and someone buys you, or someone sees you and you can play, or you can break through to the first team? So when I left AIS and I went to Italy, and the first club I went to was Torino, and I was at Torino for almost a year, and the the way my football education had to change was so strange and so enlightening at that time. And now, like obviously looking back, it's easier to assess it. At the time, you're just a kid, you don't understand what's going on. But that's my one critique. And now that like I'm 31, and sometimes I'm blessed to be in a position where younger kids ask me for advice or ask me to like what to do and how to crack it and so on and so forth to whatever level. Um, I think that's the one thing that we need to adopt. Like, if I'm watching you play, Adam, and I see that you have a tendency to beat your first man, you're good at this, but you're not the best finisher. You're not the best. Instead of me trying to say, "Hey, work on your finish," or work on, I should say, you're a good natural dribbler. Let's just perfect it, and perfect it. And I think that's the main difference. The main difference is that I feel like the European clubs are always looking to build a commodity they can sell.
Mm.
Are they sort of pushing that until you get it right, or are they a little bit? Is it almost cutthroat if they think that you just don't have it, you don't have it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. It, I feel like they kind of advise you, but it's sort of like you have no option. Like they advise you in the sense of like, hey, this is your best chance. But if you
Yeah.
don't get it right, we're gonna find somebody else who can get it right. You know?
Do you think, because you mentioned you went over there at 17, you hear other people like Rio Ferdinand and that, they say, I think it would be more targeted towards people that are 12 to 14 and say, play every single position because you'll benefit more. And then when you're 16, 17, find your craft, find when you're good at and focus on that. Would you say that's more accurate?
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with that. Like, obviously, when you're 12, 13, 14, or younger, let's say from under 14, there's also like, because of the quality of the game, certain positions are gonna get the ball more. So like, unfortunately, a 12-year-old playing in Pagewood at centre back is going to touch the ball 3 times. And we've all been part of the teams where we put the slow big guy at the back for a specific reason. You know what I mean? So I understand that that's the logic, right? But then once you're getting to the 14, 15, you're starting to decide whether you really want to give this a crack. And I think that's where the mentality has to shift. That's where the mentality has to be like, okay, how do I sell myself?
So you were at Torino before you went to Tottenham Hotspur, is that right?
Yeah, so Torino was the kind of like the launching pad, bro. So I was there, and I was there for just shy of a year, and I played in one game. So I know the visual is a bit like funny, so you can't really like see me perfectly. But I was in Torino, and basically they have this kind of thing. It's kind of like a scholarship. They call it Vite Lodge. So like health and food, you know? And bro, I was like living the life. Like for me, that was like I cracked it, you know? You have a €1 espresso 4 times a day, and like, you know, they used to give me an envelope every month with €250 cash, and I like thought I was loaded. Like I couldn't
You
believe how
cracked
much
it.
money
You
I
made
had,
it.
you know? Yeah, I made it, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, and it was December, and I was on the verge of signing like an extension. And basically, before I went home for Christmas, we had this amichevole, which was like a friendly match with the crowd to watch in the Serie A. Torino was in the Serie B at the time. And they do it for like community engagement, you know, so they bring the fans in, you play a friendly game, and it's obviously first team, and they bring 2 or 3 of the best youngsters. And by the grace of God, bro, I just had one of those games where like everything fell right, and I played really, really well, which was really lucky. And then there's like a national paper called La Gazzetta dello Sport, which is like the national Italian paper. And right on the front cover, there was like this photo of me with an incredibly bad front fringe, and it says, Torino find a secret reinforcement. And it's like talks about how I had this good game with everybody watching, and I'm from Australia, but I've got Italian heritage. And that's like December 15th, and I'm leaving to go home in 2 days. I go home and I've got a message on my Facebook, of all places. Hey, the technical director of Tottenham Hotspur is trying to get in contact with you. And 2 weeks later, I had signed a 2.5 year deal for Spurs, and my life just like absolutely flipped.
That's wild. What part of you thought that maybe that was like a scam or something from
Bro,
someone on Facebook?
not to me. Not to me. Thought it was a scam, bro.
I just
Oh,
want to
that's
take
hilarious.
one step back. So, how did you go from the AIS to Torino? Like, someone from there scout you from here? Do you reach out to the clubs? How does that actually happen?
Yeah, and once again, Stephen, I apologize. Like my story's long, so I keep trying to cut chunks out. So yeah, I apologize if I skip anything. But so basically, I played a game for the Australian under-17s, and I used to be like a attacking midfielder. So we're trying to qualify for the under-17s World Cup. It's the under-17s Asian Cup, where in the quarterfinals, if you win and get to the semifinals, you automatically qualify. I had played about 7 minutes the whole competition, so I was nowhere like in the 11. And we're playing the quarterfinal against UAE, and we're losing 2-0 at the 45th minute. So my coach has a bit of a panic attack, obviously. Must win, 45 minutes left, and he just tells me at halftime, hey, you're going up front. We're going to play striker. And I've never played striker before in my life. But obviously, like anybody, you want to chomp at the opportunity. So I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I've done it all the time. And basically, I come on, and I would say like I'm. It's luck, and the reason I use luck is because we all know how many times all of us at all levels how sometimes you can try really hard and just have an absolute stinker. But luckily, again, just one of those games. We ended up winning 3-2. I scored 2 goals. And that just like went everywhere. And then I got approached by an agent to come trial in Italy because obviously I had an Italian passport, and that was kind of that was the link, that was the jump.
How good's that? I feel like as like a defender or anything, as soon as you get that opportunity to go up front, you're just buzzing regardless. Could be down by like
I've
a
tried
disgusting
everything.
amount.
I've tried Kasuza kick, I've tried every step of that, everywhere.
That's so good. What a
Look,
story.
man, you mentioned luck. I'm sure you put a lot of hard work in. You probably had some fun too along the way, but a lot of hard work that obviously led you to that, and obviously made you be able to bigger and better things. You touched on Italy when you got there, the difference. I want to talk about Tottenham Hotspur now. Of course, you can probably see
I can
behind
see
me.
that. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, when I was going through, when Adam mentioned, this guy was at Spurs, I'm like, oh, what?
Buzzing.
What was the biggest difference you saw between, say, Australia and moving over to the UK? And I want you to rattle off a couple of big names that is going to make me wet myself. that you played with.
Yeah, okay. Done. I'll name drop a bit. I'll name drop a bit. And then it's sensitive on that. I'm gonna tell you what my jokes are, you know.
Yeah.
So, bro, listen to this. Listen to this. Let me bring you back down memory lane, bro. Okay, so Torino was good, bro. Torino was good quality, but like I never felt that I wouldn't start if that's like a level, you know. Like I felt like yeah, in this under 20 squad I can play, and the first team I can hold my own. I signed under Harry Redknapp. I signed under Harry Redknapp in January, and the first training. They put me, Massimo Luongo, and Tom Carroll against Modric, Crancher, and Giovanni dos Santos. Do you understand
Jesus
How humbling.
Christ.
do you
How
understand
humbling.
how murdered I got in that first game?
That's
So
insane.
that was a nice slice of humble pie. But I walked into that change room in that first 6 months, man. If I'm being like if I'm being brutally honest, I was just like calling my dad every day saying, "What have I done? Like I don't touch the ball, man. Like oh my god, I'm out of my depth." But
Yeah.
it was the most incredible like education that has allowed me to have a career. But the players I can't. You people like you and Adam will understand because you're football people, but general people don't understand. Like, imagine playing football and everyone else is on fast forward. That is so hard. When you get the ball and you're accustomed to 2 seconds to make a choice, and the guy's already here in half a second. That's a really hard adjustment to get to. And then when you try to press someone, he already knows you're coming. He knows what side you're coming on. He knows which way you're going to turn. He knows your feint. He knows your dummy. So it was such a big jump. Like, man, I just felt like they were toying with everything that I would do. But thankfully, I had 3 years. So by the end of it, I felt like I had somewhat caught up, you know. But the quality is outrageous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you pretty much explained Luka Modric there, knowing what's going to happen 3, 4 steps in advance. It's just how he played his whole career. And big shout out to Tommy Carroll, who was on your side. Obviously, hasn't had the greatest career, but he's played second division majority of his
Yeah.
time. He's
Yeah,
played
he
in the
went to
Premier League as
Swansea,
well.
and like I moved to Swansea, bro, and then he came, and like he played all the time, bro. Like he's
Yeah.
got some prem games under his belt, man, baller. But
Mm.
the generation was freaky, bro. Like I'm talking, we had Ryan Mason, we had Harry Kane. I watched Gareth Bale go from like an absolute pleb to a superstar.
Yeah.
We had
To the curse, from the curse to what he
yeah,
is.
bro, like I saw Vertonghen, Dembele, so many,
Incredible.
Christian Eriksen. Bro, I saw these people just come and rip the league like crazy, bro. Such talented players.
Everyone always says that Dembele always goes underrated a little bit. Hey, but how good was he?
Bro, this guy he has like this move, man. He's so annoying. He does this thing where like he's got like, bro, his ass is made of steel or something. He does this thing where like he kind of just tips his ass wherever in direction you're trying to tackle him, and he protects the ball without touching the ball. Oh my god, bro, it's so annoying, and you just bounce off him, and then he just anyway, he's a freak, bro. He's so talented, so good.
Yeah, I've heard.
That's awesome. Was there any offers? Obviously, you got a message on Facebook from the director of Tottenham Hotspur. Was there anyone else that was interested in yourself? Did you have any other options to go anywhere else?
At that specific time or in general?
Mainly that specific time.
No, after that, like Gazzetta dello Sport deal, I was just so happy to stay in Torino, bro. I was thinking like, oh, I'm probably gonna go from 250 to 500 euros. Ooh, I've got so much money. And I was loving it, man. Like Italy has a beautiful lifestyle for a footballer. And I just wasn't thinking anything else. Like in my mind, bro, like, and I think you can tell from the happiness of my tone. Look, this is my dream job, bro. Whether I played at the Prem for 400 games or I played in the conference for 400 games, I get to work for 2 hours and kick a ball, and that pays my bills. Like I
Yeah.
was so happy. And then all of a sudden I'm in freezing cold England with a bunch of like freaky ballers, and I'm like, wow, bro, I never
Yeah.
thought I'd come here, but here we go.
Yeah, unreal. Was the move to Swansea was straight after Spurs, correct?
Yeah.
Was that a little bit underwhelming, sort of when you know potentially that it maybe hasn't worked out the best at Spurs? Was there almost like a bit of fear after that?
I
Especially you were
think
young as well, though.
yeah, and I think like I don't have like many regrets. Obviously, like I'm a man of faith, so like I believe that the pathway is your pathway. But I think like in that moment, it was like an important moment for me to learn that sometimes you have to go with your own gut instinct instead of the people that are guiding you. You know,
Hmm.
until that point, like I have an agent, and I'm just like, what his word is gospel. If he says go right, I go right. If he says like go left, go left. And
Hmm.
he was just like, Spurs had offered a 1 year extension, and I wanted to try to play first team football. I was like
Hmm.
21. I wanted to play first team football, and the other options we had was to go back to the A League, try to play, or to go like lower, go to Bradford, go to Bury, try to go to League One, and that was more the option that I wanted. And he was like, "Nah, you're gonna go to Swansea. They need a cover, or they only have two centre backs in the first team. You're gonna be the cover. You're gonna be the cover." And I
Hmm.
thought like, wow, okay, man, another Premier League club. You know better than I do. And away I went. And after about like 3 training sessions, I know like, and I played in the under 23s. We won the league. I was captain. That's great. And so like, I say that to say it wasn't a terrible year, but I just wasn't a Swansea footballer. Like I just come
Right.
from Spurs where it was like everything was about playing out all the time from everywhere. Everything was really based on technique, on keeping the ball. And then I'd gone to Swansea and like in the first 2 3 sessions, I remember Gary Monk looking at me like, "You're not a defender, bro. You don't defend. Like
Yeah.
you do too much. Like why do you keep passing the ball, kick the ball out and 2 foot somebody? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it was I clearly didn't fit, and it was clearly like my agent just kind of filling a void. Like Swansea's after a player, he's put me there, but there was clearly no want for me specifically, and that's kind of my regret. You know, I lost a year.
Right. Okay. You sort of touched on A League just now and the opportunity to go back there. You did find yourself back there sort of between 2015 to 2020, and you had the opportunity to play for a few clubs.
Yeah.
How did you find your time then? And was your aspirations always to go back abroad?
Yeah, I had like one little stint at Melbourne that like sucked. Like I was playing for the under 23s. This was after Swansea, and actually Aurelio Vidmar had called me and said, "Oh, like I've spoken to Kevin Muscat, go back to the A League. Like you're gonna play, blah blah blah." And then I went there, and Melbourne Victory were killing it, and like there was Matthew Del Pierre was playing centre back, and so was Broxer, and I was just like sitting on the bench, and they're both like good players, and there's no problem. But it was once again, it's like a decision where I'm following the advice of somebody else rather than like following my own, gut feeling.
Mm. Yeah.
And so then I kind of got a bit of a chip on my shoulder, and I'm sure you've had versions of this in your own life. But I was like, oh, well, stuff that I'm going to go back where I'm appreciated. So like I basically went back to England with no plan. Just stayed at my friend's house and started calling every single coach and player that I knew, and trying to like kind of start to guide myself, instead of following agents and stuff. So then I spent 2 years like in a lower league, and I racked up like 100 games. And after I had kind of done that and seen let's say the uglier side of football, the more do or die side of football. From that point onwards, I felt as though I had like a different perception to how I attacked football. So I got to like 20, at the time I think I was probably 24, 25, and I was heading back to Australia. And like I started realizing that like, wow, man, this sounds so dramatic, and I'm not trying to sound philosophical or anything, but you start realizing that like you set the bar of what you want. If I keep comparing myself to Ronaldo's career every single day, I'm going to be spiraling in depression that I'm not 6'2", look like a male model, and sleeping with that supermodel, you know? So I started realizing that, like, I've got to do it within my own world, within my own, set my own goals, and how I can enjoy football at any level. And so then when I came back, uh, Western Sydney Wanderers had an injury. Geordie O'Doherty got an ACL, and they needed an injury replacement. And from that point onwards, man, like from 25 till now, this last 6 years of my life, it's felt like the most incredible, most enjoyable. And I know that sounds so strange because the brag is that I've been at Spurs and I've been at Swansea and I played with those absolute ballers. And I'm grateful for that. But this last 6 years, I think I've really just learned to enjoy football.
Yeah. Is it more like just like living in the moment type thing?
Yeah. It's like, and whenever I do kind of like shows like this, I always get to a point where I feel like, man, this is for 30 minutes I've just been talking about myself when that's all I am. But it's like you both, it's like you're here, you're enjoying doing something that you love. And if I told you every single day, yeah, but that other podcast, they've got 500,000 views, it would just suck. Whereas if you're just comparing yourself to yourself, progress is the win, So I just got to a point where I was like, man, I'm just gonna, like you said, I'm just gonna be present, enjoy every day. Like, oh man, I've got the love of my life at home. I'm playing football for 2 hours a day and I get paid to do it. Like, how lucky am I? And things just kept falling in my favor. So then I just didn't change my mentality. And then it kept getting better and it kept getting better and it kept getting better. And bro, 6 years, I almost like don't want to say anything because the role keeps going so well. But fingers crossed, man.
Unreal. Steve, we're gonna clip that and we're gonna listen to it every day. I need that motivation in my life. I love that.
I'll put a quote on the wall behind me every single podcast. But he's right, but like we don't compare ourselves with anyone. We do it because we love it, and we get people like you on telling their story, and we're buzzing. Like we love hearing these kind of things, especially because you come from Sydney as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna be home soon, by the way, so let's go grab some food.
Unreal. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sounds good to me.
So obviously talking about it just now, you found yourself in clubs in England, Italy, and Malaysia. Did you struggle to adapt to those football styles and cultures while you were there?
I struggled probably the most at the beginning of England, because I'm like I feel like Australia's kind of banter is so like lighthearted, like we drop the C bomb all the time and it means
Too
nothing.
often.
Yeah, it means absolutely nothing, And like I've never felt like any of my jokes with my boys or my friends ever had any venom behind it. And then when I came to the UK, I went into a change room where like it was kill or be killed, and I would like someone would just hammer somebody else really hard, and I think like, we're gonna go out and you need to pass me the ball or something. Like, what does that do? So that was a bit of a culture shock. And then to come here, like I'm not Islamic, right? But this country is predominantly Muslim, and like I'd say this not in an insult, I say this in the most genuine compliment. They are like so beautifully innocent, bro. Like they don't drink liquor, they barely smoke. Everything is about like family and kids. If you're 22, you've already got like 4 kids here. They like it's such an innocent world. Like, obviously I can't say it on the podcast, but we all know in Australia, in Sydney specifically, what happens on a Saturday night. That does not happen here, dude. They have a nice coffee and they talk about like the weather.
Yeah.
So sweet, bro. It's so cute. So this has been a really like a really innocent culture shock.
No, it's nice.
Yeah, you're mature now, mate. You moved over there. You changed your life. The way you were explaining yourself before, you were the coach's son over in England.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Yeah, and just touching on where you are now in Malaysia. So you've been playing over there for quite a few years now at Carroll City. What's made you stay at the club for so long compared to previous clubs that you've been at?
Well, okay, I'm gonna give you like a quick backstory. So, because obviously I'm sure not
Is this a
too-
GG quick or is it a normal person
Yeah.
quick?
No, it's definitely a GT quick. I apologize. This might have to be the extended version. No, so I'm sure you're not super like familiar with the league. So the league in Malaysia is predominantly dominated by one club. It's owned by a sultan, has a limitless budget. They're unbelievable. They just battered Central Coast. They're mad, right? That's called Johor. KL City, when I came here, was like a tiny club that had just started. And I came here and there were like 5 people in the background staff. Like it was built from nothing. And the guy, like the CEO, sat me down and was like, "Hey, listen, we're a brand new team. Let's just try not to get relegated. I'm like, let's just try not to suck, right?" And then we had an unbelievable first year, and we won like this cup. It's a Malaysia Cup. It's like basically our FA Cup, right? And it went down in like law. Like they declared a public holiday on the 23rd of December. They
Wow.
like went ballistic, right? And it just kind of it was the most fairy tale beginning. So then I just loved it, bro. And like Kuala Lumpur is obviously an unbelievable city, so that helps. But it just grew and it grew and the next year we went to like the AFC and we got to the final and we're the second Malaysian Cup club ever to be runners up. And then they grew, and then the third year we got to another final, and then this, and so like it just kept going good. I kept thinking I don't want to be another player who gets so hungry for like most of the time more money or to go jump to a better team, and then it doesn't align with their performance. And I'm like, right now I'm performing well. I feel value. I feel like validated with everything that's going on. I don't want to stop this wave of good, and that's just turned into 5 years. Hey, that was pretty short. Come on, that was actually
That was-
that wasn't too
That's
much.
not bad. You covered everything, which is great, except I've got one more question about where you're at the moment in KL City. You're wearing the number 9 jersey. What's going on there?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what's the worst? I've had the worst goal scoring record here that I've had in any other club. So I've pinched myself dramatically. But when I signed, they said, you've got 2 options, 9 or 13. And 13 to me is terribly bad luck. So I was like, oh, I'll do 9 and I'll just change it next season. And then we won the Malaysia Cup. So I was like, okay, well, I
That's
can't
it.
change it. I'll keep it for 1 more year. And now that's just rolled on to 5 years.
Why not?
Beautiful.
Why not?
You're probably the only person that's got the number 9 playing at the back there, which is good.
Yeah, and I do it no justice, bro. I do it absolutely no justice.
You're doing it your way, mate. That's all that matters. 31 years old now. Look, you've had a pretty successful football career. We've seen footballers these days play well into their 30s, into their 40s. Is there one goal or one dream that you still want to achieve before you hang up the boots?
Yes, I do. I want to. This has been become a little bit of like a second home for me. My daughter was born here. My wife absolutely loves the city. I'm learning to speak Bahasa, so I'm actually learning Malaysian. And I think this is going to be a big, big chapter for me, Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur specifically. So I would love to have one more trophy with them
yeah.
before my career is over. Right now, like you said, man, I'm 31 and I look at like Sergio Ramos playing at 39 and Pep playing
Yeah.
at 40 and I
Plenty
think
of
I got
time.
time, bro. Yeah, I got time, man. I got time.
Plenty of time as a number 9. Plenty of time.
But yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect, man. What does life after football look like for yourself? Well, you seem to be enjoying your time in Malaysia. You're staying there. You're looking for a coaching job over there. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I go back and forth, man, because obviously Australia is so ridiculously expensive
Oh,
and
great.
here is so ridiculously cheap. So I go back and forth, man. I would love to. My plan used to always be I wanted to go back home, um, live near my family, and I wanted to work at my old school and be the head of like sports football. So I
Wow.
wanted to go back to my old college. That was kind of like my always my dream, you know. and
Yeah.
then I get to be like that grumpy old man that goes like, back in my day. So that is still plan A, but I have a plan B that is to remain here and kind of like start working at the club, whether that be part of recruitment or part of the coaching staff. And I think that's becoming a bigger and bigger option.
That's got a Netflix movie written all over it. Former player comes back to old school, becomes head coach.
Becomes a
Then he
grumpy
does.
asshole, yeah.
Yeah, back in Malaysia, we never used to go out on Saturday nights.
You kids these days.
Well, GG, it's that time of the podcast, Steve. It's that time.
It is that time.
It is the coach's son. GG, who is your coach's son nomination?
Okay, my coach's son nomination.
I know you're sweating.
I am because I think to myself, will this get back to me? Can I name two?
100%. Name five.
You know what? If it's really that bad, you can just tell us about the situation and not bring it up. We do poke the bear. We do want the name out there.
What the name? What the story behind it?
Two.
All right.
I've got two, and I'll tell the story off air. But
All
I've got two. Lee Boxer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Archie Thompson.
Archie Thompson. Okay.
All right.
Wow.
I can't wait to hear the story.
Jesus.
That's my two.
Wow. You're leaving
Unreal.
all
There
our
you go.
followers
We
in the
love
dark.
Oh, unreal. Well, GG, thank you very much for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure. I loved hearing all the stories, and it's been amazing chatting to you.
Thank you. Sorry for the delay and the technical difficulties.
Nah.
Guys, love it. I'll keep supporting. Thank you for having me. If
Yeah.
ever you need me to talk a bunch of shite, I'm your man. So thank you.
Unreal. We'll
Legend.
definitely take you up on that, man. Thanks, and best of luck for everything as well.
Thank you very much, bro.
This was not meant to happen. This could not happen.